All right, here we have a special guest here in the house, Mr. David Garcia, Suits for Hire.
Yes, yes.
Very dope title for a
Yes.
company name. Man, can you tell me more about yourself and how did you come to this point?
Well, I've been selling suits for the last 10 years now. When I first started selling suits, I didn't have any direction of how to be a professional, how to dress for success. So that kind of stirred up ideas of, making it easier for young men and men in need to learn those soft skills through programs that we put together through Suits for Hire, the nonprofit. So once again, I've been selling suits for 10 years, and I see every day the gentleman of a CEO stance, a president stance, financial advisors. You could say I outfit some of Kansas City's finest, some of Kansas City's best. So I solicit them to, donate a gently used suit, shirt, or tie, and then they receive a discount from me. But at that, the items that I receive, they're top quality. I mean, these items are coming from, like I said, CEOs, presidents, like I said, some of Kansas City's finest.
Right.
So if they can be successful in these garments, so can somebody else,
Okay.
So,
I feel you.
So it's taken me a long time to get here. I've self-taught myself just about everything I know in business.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a mentor. He's taught me a lot in this business as well. But I'm just happy to be where I'm at today at 37 years old. And it took me till I was like 32 to figure out exactly what I was doing. So with that, with that being said, I'm trying to, skip those hurdles that I had to go through and help the next gentleman get to the place where he's presentable. He knows how to interview. He knows how to follow that interview. And then he knows how to prosper in the workplace.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Since you seem like to be the Dapper Dan, I guess, of Kansas City, and you are
yes,
politicking, conversating with different men of stature who have brought themselves up. You said CEOs, different companies and things. Is there certain traits or is there gifts of wisdom that they have given you that I guess you see that some young man may need to, to present themselves in this world?
There's everyday success stories that I run into, and some of them are just like mine. I come from a little bit, and I made a lot out of it. I remember growing up, and I was getting hand-me-downs from, my cousins or my brother, and I pieced together a wardrobe that wasn't all particularly mine.
I feel you.
And some of these gentlemen that I outfit, they asked me the same question, so how did you get into menswear and such and such? And I tell them, I just had to look for how to piece together a wardrobe because of the single items that were given to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of their stories too come from, I grew up just like that, single mom household, things of the sort, or, don't have very, the means to put together a wardrobe until after college. So a lot of their success stories too that come about are from them too. Some of my programs and my dealing with these at-risk youth and these gentlemen dealing with reentry programs, they not only come from my eyes, but from my neighbor's eyes, my client's eyes, my best friend's eyes. So there's a lot of building of character that I take from different people, from my professional level all the way down to my, growing up level.
Definitely. From a personal aspect, doing this, did you teach yourself how to?
Oh yeah.
Because coming from the streets, coming from a background where I guess similar to myself, where there isn't really a role model.
Correct.
To actually teach you.
Correct.
This. What inspired you, man?
Oh man, and I'm glad you asked that, because even today when I was getting ready for this interview, I could still remember the biggest influence that I had as a young kid. I was one of my first jobs, I was stacking groceries.
Yeah.
And every gentleman or every businesswoman that would walk in, I would take a look at their stature, their, how they held themselves, even in their walk. I could hear them walk, and it's like, wow, I felt their respect as they walked past me.
Right.
And, I always told myself, I want to be like that, when I grow up. And this was when I was 15, 16 years old. And I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. But I wanted to wear, a suit, shirt, and tie and walk in and take the room over and things of the sort. So I would say the biggest influence that I had that puts me where I'm at today is sacking groceries and looking at the professionals that walk past me every day that motivated me to be, a professional that I am today.
I feel you there. Right now we live in a world, man, where a lot of the youth, I want to say kids under 30, where they feel entitled.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have this problem in this program, since you are trying to mold these men and help tailor them, to move in this world? Do you feel any resistance from some of the youth who don't want to, move in that light?
It's basically a young mind needs to understand that the situation or the problem that they have today is only, today's problem.
Right.
They can grow out of that problem. They can grow out of their situation. So once you break that mold of a young mind, and then they start trusting you, and then they trust the process of becoming a man, becoming a gentleman, becoming a business professional, then they see the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
They may be looking out their window today and seeing, some of the, worst things that could happen in life. But, that's the situation that they're in today. What they do with that tomorrow is up to them. To answer what you were asking, I think the resistance just comes from other influences of, why would you do that? Why do you want to, be something that you're not? That's not the case. It's be something that you want to be.
True.
It's not be something that you don't.
True.
So, when and I've had that influence too. I've been called everything from a sellout to this and that, but look at me.
Is that because you're trying to raise yourself up from the level that you were before?
Correct. And now I get to go to, speaking in front of large audiences and tell them my story of how and where I came from and how I built, not only my daytime business, but how I built the nonprofit up to where it is today. So I would say the only resistance would be just outside influence. Once you break that barrier, then, a young mind is a sponge.
And speaking of these young minds, how many young men have you helped out?
Well, that's a great question. We've rolled out the Champion Me program that I actually wrote myself based on experiences that I had growing up. We've had influence in the Kansas City Public School District, some other nonprofits, the likings of Higher Aspirations.
Yes.
So with those programs, with the young minds, we are trying to get to the point that we can fundraise to the point that we're outfitting them in brand new wardrobe so they can feel and look just like the business gentlemen that we have today walking around in today's, boardroom.
I feel you there.
So I would say, if anything, it's about creating the mold that will last forever.
Yeah.
And it's a mindset, it's mind over matter.
I feel you. And let's go ahead and take a little small break and drop into this new Anderson pack real quick. It's definitely been bubbling, and we will get back to Mr. Andy Garcia, Suits for Hire. This is The Blend. All right. That was great, man.
David Garcia.
Oh, my God.
Andy
I
Garcia.
did do that too. I don't know why. Because of the Anderson pack.